Every year, Avixa's InfoComm happens, alternating between Orlando and Las Vegas. This year, 2025, it's in Orlando, Florida. And as always, Visix will be there. This time we're in booth 3543 at the Orange County Convention Center in Orlando. There's a lot to talk about for this year's offerings. To help me with that, I have Sean Matthews, the president and CEO of Visix, to tell me everything that you can see at the Visix booth, which is not a substitute for actually seeing it. So you should still pop by. Hi, Sean. Thanks for talking to me today.
Hey, Derek. Glad to be here. And hey, not only are we going to be in InfoComm, just to make it clear, we have been there for basically 40 years, 40 plus years. So
yeah, like from nearly the beginning.
Yes, I think we are. I don't know if it's chicken, egg, however that story goes. We're definitely there.
Right. All right. I'd like to thank Sean for talking to me. Of course, everybody out there for listening to this episode of Digital Signage Done Right. A reminder that you can subscribe, you can review us, and you can follow along with a transcript on the Visix website. Whether you're using digital signage or not, our podcast gives you practical tips for communications and content to better engage your audience. I'm Derek DeWitt. Welcome to Digital Signage Done Right. So, Sean, I know every year there's a conference like InfoComm, and there's always pressure to, come up with something new. We got to show something new. It's always a thing, and everybody scrambles. Nobody wants to just show the same stuff they showed last year. It gives the impression nothing's happening. Visix has done it again. You guys have come up with new stuff.
I mean, Derek, you're right. Every year we all go through this exercise of coming up with something new. And, last year we introduced our support of the BrightSign player, but we were a little premature in that. It was more of a prototype, a concept of us supporting the BrightSign player. It's taken a really long time to support that platform. We've been a Windows-only shop forever. Lots of reasons why we've done it that way. But, the channel was screaming for the BrightSign player. I mean, they were just demanding it. Our user base, our higher education installation base, they were just clamoring.
Right. Chant, you just hear it out through the window. Purple box, purple box, purple box. Crowds of people chanting. It's like a cult.
It definitely is a cult. In fact, I think we're going to change our colors to purple. But seriously, it's more than 2 million BrightSign players have been delivered to the market, which is a staggering number, right? You're talking about 250,000 or 200,000 players a year, every year for 10 years. That's an unmatched number.
Do the math. You'll figure it out. How often a day that is, and it probably comes down to like one every couple of minutes.
Yeah. It's one of those things you see on a newscast or something, what the depth looks like or something there. So for us, it's a really, really big deal, and it gets us closer to a web or browser-based designer, because all the design tools in BrightSign support are browser-based. So we do have now a browser-based or a web-based designer built into the support of the BrightSign player. And we have all the data integration that we've always had with our CMS that, we can kind of wrap around that BrightSign implementation.
And for people who are listening and want to know more about that, we actually, 2 weeks ago, did an episode with Trey Hicks, the CSO and COO of Visix, specifically about BrightSign. So if you want more technical details, that's all in that episode. Just go to the Visix website, and there it is.
So, not only beyond BrightSign, but the most successful and fastest growing aspect of our business is the space management offering that we have. Most of it centered around the electronic paper sign. Those things are just, flying off the shelf. There's a backlog every month of units that we can't even get from our suppliers. So that piece has really taken off. And it's taken off in a complete offering. It's not just one piece. It's not just EPS, right? We're talking about the electronic paper sign component married with the augmented reality space reservation component, which is called Koros. Also, in addition to that, the extension of the Connect room sign, the touch room sign. The new touch room sign has availability lights on all four sides. Really, really cool. So not only does it work for classic space management, rooms, classrooms, conference rooms, but it's made itself all the way down to the hybrid workspace solution, down to the desktop, down to the individual space, which is, I mean, that's exploding right now.
Yeah, it's funny. Debbie and I were talking about how we keep saying, well, ever since the pandemic, hybrid has become kind of a thing. And we kind of realized, that was 5 years ago. Maybe we should stop saying that and just acknowledge. I know there are still some articles out there that are trying to hint like, well, maybe hybrid's just a temporary thing. It's clearly not. And sorry, business owners out there who don't trust your employees, but it's just a thing. It was coming anyway. The pandemic certainly accelerated it, and it's just here, and we don't even need to talk about it like it's something new anymore, because it isn't.
Well, I mean, it's funny when you talk about that. This year we're celebrating our 45th anniversary of being in business, right? Just in the US, there are about 33 million businesses. Dude, that's an enormous number of businesses. Of the 33 million, only a tiny fraction, like 19,000, are really big businesses, those that you just mentioned that are saying, oh, you have to come back to the office, right? The Googles of the world, the Amazons, those really big organizations. But when you get down to companies that are 200 to 500 employees, Derek, those guys are realizing the value of reducing their square footage, managing that lease calculation. They know they have employees that don't really have to be in the office. That whole team concept every day, the idea of Microsoft Teams, Zoom, Google Meet, all that stuff, that's eliminated the barriers of being apart and actually brought us closer together. And the idea that you have to be there every day, it's just wrong. I mean, yes, there are certain jobs, where people have to be there every day. But a lot of jobs, maybe 50% of jobs, showing up once a week, every other day, twice a week, whatever, in some cases, only every 6 months. But utilizing that space for those, part-time visitors, dude, it's phenomenal.
Yeah. And obviously it's reflected in, like you said, the demand for this stuff. Everybody seems to want it. The EPS obviously is a very efficient system. It's a very great way to present space management solutions. It's affordable. And it also uses not a ton of power, so there's a savings there as well. Plus, if you care, it's ecological. So it's just kind of, it's not a surprise to me, I guess I should say, that the EPS is the aspect of this that really took off. What is interesting is how people want to combine it into kind of a package with a bunch of stuff. That's quite nice, because it's almost like the EPS is their gateway drug. They go, yo, you know what? This is great. I wish in this one room or these places we had this. Oh, Visix has those as well. Here's a Connect, here's a Touch. Oh, cool. Okay, well, let's just do this sort of comprehensive deployment, and we can serve every one of our needs.
Yeah, actually, it's gone both ways, as you just described. There are clients that have used Visix in the more classic sense with, signs outside of conference rooms and classrooms. Then they've migrated to using EPS technologies down at the desk level. And we also have people that have started off with the hybrid desk solution and added on those other room signs. So they're going both directions.
Comprehensive is the future. That's what I suspect. It's really a suite of things, and why not? I mean, this is a little bit like what Trey Hicks was saying when we talked about BrightSign. It's kind of the philosophy behind supporting that as well. It's like, look, we're trying to create a suite of options for clients. What do you need? What do you want? Here's what we got. We've got this. Now we support BrightSign. We've got EPS. We've got Koros. If you want to go completely contactless, no app, nothing. It just people use their smartphones. They don't even download anything. Like, however you want to go, we got you covered.
Yeah, for sure. In fact, you're going to see it all in our booth this year, man. I mean, you're going to see the full solution, down from the desk, level, the hybrid workspace, all the way up to the big signs and lobbies, cafeterias, that kind of stuff. You're going to see all of that in our booth, man. Everything from menu boards to data integration, design tools, BrightSign support, event management. I mean, we're going to have all of it there. I mean, our goal this year is to create a really cool visitor experience, not just on the technology side, but in the space that you're visiting as well.
Yes, I've seen some of the design mock-ups, and it's a lot of fun because it ties into the fact that this company started off not called Visix when it started off, but it started off in 1980. And when you think 1980, you think a lot of bad haircuts, flare trousers were still around, people were still wearing bell bottoms. But also, that's the beginning of certainly a lot of what was my growing up period as a Gen Xer. Certain kinds of movies, video games, and so on. Like Pac-Man came out. Space Invaders had already blown the lid off of that business model. And so this is kind of what you guys are leaning into, is like, some of you may remember 1980, and some of you who are into quote unquote retro stuff might be into it as well. This is kind of what it was like when we began, and now see how far we've come and where we have landed. That's kind of the idea, I think, behind the design.
Yeah, in fact, you hit it spot on, man, with Pac-Man. The entire concept visually of the booth from a color scheme perspective is based on the colors on the side of a Pac-Man machine. Like, that's the whole deal. So we're going to have Pac-Man in the booth, like real legitimate throwback Pac-Man. We're giving away Pac-Man machines. We're giving away 2 of them once a day on Wednesday and Thursday. All you have to do is scan your badge. Throughout the day, we're giving away fresh baked cookies, pastries, popcorn, coffee, sodas, water. But even more to the throwback, we're giving away pop rocks, yo-yos. We're doing it all.
Wow, pop rocks. I wonder, we should make a bet right now. How many times will you and your staff hear someone make the erroneous claim that Mikey from the Life cereal commercials died when eating Pop Rocks and then drinking a Coke? Which is, just so everybody knows, is not true.
But we will have plenty of Cokes and Pop Rocks side by side.
Try it yourself. And you guys have yo-yos also. That's so funny because I had forgotten that yo-yos were such a big deal in the early 80s.
Yeah, these aren't just yo-yos. They have batteries in them and they light up.
Oh, wow. Walk the dog around the world. I was one of those young fellas that I was impressed. I really, really, really wanted to be the person who could do all the tricked out yo-yo stuff. And instead, it would just sort of dangle limply at the end of my string. Just a classic symbol of impotence and failure. Or I would smack myself in the head with it.
We've been entrepreneuring in this space for 45 years. All ties back to the 80s, as you mentioned. And, for us, it's a big deal, man. Not a lot of companies make it 45 years. We were supposed to celebrate our 40th anniversary in 2020, which was a pandemic. So we have a chance here to do it 5 years later for our 45th. And, man, we started off with the AV channel. We're still with the AV channel. And, we support the AV channel from a digital signage perspective more than anyone else in this market. So we're excited about that. We look forward to having, all of our friends come in and see us at this really cool experience in Orlando.
And it'll be very hard to miss the booth because it is, as Sean said, colored with the same color scheme as Pac-Man. So your eye is going to be drawn right to it. Plus, you'll smell cookies. And this is, again, harkening back. Shopping malls became a big deal in the 80s. Mrs. Fields Cookies made inroads into that market by being really the first one they would pump out the smell into the mall. And then they had usually young ladies standing there with samples. And, my friend Rob and I, we would go by over and over again. Of course, they recognized this, but we would go by over and over again. And what's that? Macadamia and white chocolate. Sure, I'll try that. I literally was just here 3 minutes ago. I know we thought we were sly, So it is it's a bit of a nostalgia thing, but when you look at the content and what's actually on the walls itself, you also see not only where we are today in 2025, but I think you can now that we see these sort of comprehensive packages or suites of solutions coming together, I think you can kind of start to see where things are heading as well. So, in many ways, you could say stopping by Visix booth 3543 at InfoComm 2025 is a little bit like time travel.
That it is, Derek. I'm sure we're going to have lots of people stopping by to get those cookies over and over again. But in the meantime, they will get a little glimpse of what you can do with our technology, and we'll make sure that we get you a yo-yo if you're not there, and that way you can build upon your childhood experiences.
Injure myself further. That's so exciting. And if you don't have a hall pass for the exhibit floor, you can go to the Visix website and get a free VIP exhibit hall pass by going to Visix.com. That's Visix.com/InfoComm. That's 2 M's. And there you can get the link as well and see a little bit of what there is to see in the booth.
All right, Derek. Look forward to seeing you there. And as always, I appreciate the conversation.
Thank you very much. And thank you again, everybody, for listening. I remind you that there is a transcript of the conversation we just had on the Visix website. And don't forget to stop by booth 3543. For more free stuff, head to resources on Visix.com for guides, videos, and more to help with your visual communications. Please subscribe and share, and contact us for information about our digital signage solutions.